What's up, Grace Report? Happy Saturday. I forgot what day it was. How's everyone doing? What is up, D Nice, Tammy, Mr. Spock, and Carol? How's everyone doing? I'll wait for a few people to trickle in because I did come on a little bit earlier. I got out early, so I was able to come on a little early. But what's up, Matthew? How's it going? As I lose my voice. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to do something real quick. Oh my gosh. There. Give me a second, guys. Bernadette, how's it going? Emily Parkinson, how's it going? Why do I look like the camera can see my nose hairs? How's everyone's weekend going while we wait for people to trickle in? Did anyone watch anything interesting over the weekend? I've been so behind. I think I was watching on Netflix. I did not watch the fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. I did not. I heard a lot of people were disappointed in it. I did not watch it, but I did watch, and I did. I also noticed I forgot Cobra Kai Part 2 is back. It came back yesterday. I totally forgot. I was like, wait a minute, Cobra Kai's back, because it was so long of a break that I forgot that it was back on. So I haven't had a chance to watch that, but I was watching on Netflix because it's a show that I like. It's like a true crime thing. I forgot what I Am a Killer, I think is what it's called. I think. Yeah, I Am a Killer. That was what I was watching yesterday. Bernadette finished Cobra Kai. Shelly, what is up? Bernadette goes, I'm alive for now. F my job. What happened, Bernadette? Matthew. Oh, I did not know that. Thank you, Matthew. Matthew, see, Matthew has mentioned, because I didn't even see that anywhere. Beetlejuice is going to be on Max December 6th. So for those of you that like to watch movies in the comfort of your own home, like myself, and have Max, you'll be able to watch Beetlejuice. Joanne, how's it going? Bernadette goes, my job is working me to the bone. Oh, I hate when that happens. I know what you mean. I've had my share of a job where they drag you through the dirt and work you till your last thread of energy. But other than that, I haven't really watched anything. There's a few things I want to watch, but then I was like, I don't have time to finish it. So I haven't gotten to them yet. But Cobra Kai is out now if you guys have Netflix. Matthew just mentioned Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice will be out on December 6th. Tammy, happy belated birthday. I was going to mention it on my last stream and I totally went through. So Tammy, happy belated birthday. Hearts for Tammy, guys. I know in Telegram I did mention it, but then I was going to do it live too. And I went, Nerd Report. I haven't seen Nerd Report goes no talking about Cobra Kai because we haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it. I'm just saying that it's out. I forgot that it was out, actually. I did not know. While we're waiting for people, excuse me, to trickle in, I did find this. I am looking forward to Wednesday season 2. I'm not sure when it comes out. Hopefully this article will let. But I thought what was cool is Lady Gaga is cast in Wednesday season 2. I loved Lady Gaga in what was it called? American Horror Story. Unfortunately, the movie that she was in, Joker, Filet Ado, kind of bombed. So she probably didn't get the notoriety. Well, I haven't seen it, so I don't know, but which kind of sucks. But I did love her, like I said, in American Horror Story. She did amazing. I was super impressed. Variety has confirmed that Lady Gaga will have a part in the upcoming season of Netflix's Wednesday. As for what part she will play in the series remains a mystery. The first season of the series was a bona fide hit, spawning many memes, including a TikTok dance set to a sped-up version of Gaga's Bloody Mary. Gaga hasn't had the best of cinematic luck in recent years. She starred in Ridley Scott's House of Gucci, but that film didn't do well critically. And then there was this year's universally panned Joker 2, which I had mentioned. Hopefully her upcoming album, LG7, will be a return to form and she can dominate the pop music space once again. This won't be Gaga's first time in a television series. Ryan Murphy cast her in American Horror Story Hotel and Roanoke. I think I stopped watching after Roanoke. Because I don't remember her in Roanoke. I think I started watching Roanoke and then I was like, I lost interest and I never finished it. But I did love American Horror Story Hotel. That's where my fascination with the Cecil Hotel came from because it was filmed there. Sorry, guys. Oh my God, hold on. All right, Wednesday star Jenna Ortega as the titular character. In a bit of foresight, she told Variety in January of 2023 that if Gaga were to be a part of a second season, she would have to be equally matched with Miss Thornhill, which was played by Christina Ricci. They'd have to be two monsters who understand each other. The second season of Wednesday is scheduled to end filming this month. So I do not know when it's going to come out, but I know a lot of people can't wait for that to return. And I know I'm not the only one. B.S. Stone, how's it going? Bernadette, I did not see the fight between Mike and Jake Paul. I did hear a lot of people complaining, like, that was it. What the hell? I did hear a lot of people complaining about it. Bernadette is saying that Cobra Kai is better than the crap show of a fight with Mike and Jake Paul last night. I did hear that Netflix was buffering out. It kind of gave me problems yesterday when I was clicking on it. Because I had clicked off of it and I was looking for something to watch and it I had a black screen. But this was after the fight was over. So I don't know what, I think just people were watching the replay or something. But and then finally I clicked on something and it opened up. But yeah. I didn't fall for the hype of it. So I didn't watch it. The only reason why I found this article, because a lot of them are, a lot of the movies that they do talk about are like sequels, and I was like, but 2025 will be the year of the legacy sequel. Here are 7 to look for. Rest in peace, Tony Todd. I was about to say Todd Terry. Todd Terry's a DJ, house DJ. If you thought 2024 was the year of the original indie, then we're calling 2025 the year of legacy sequels. Some of these films in pre and post production have characters and plots that have been in our lives for several decades, and they are finally returning to the big screen. This year, there were only a few of them: Alien Romulus, Beetlejuice, and The First Omen. I think Alien Romulus was coming on streaming. Forgot what I said. I know I mentioned it. I think it was the end of this month on Hulu. November 21st. So if you guys are looking forward to see Alien Romulus, it will be out on Hulu or Hulu November 21st. Nerd Report's going, who saw Tyson's butt? I think everybody did. I'm with you, Bernadette. I think everyone did that. That was floating around social media as well, so I did see it. Get ready for 2025, though, as the legacy franchise sequels looking to dominate the box office. There are so many, we can't decide which one we are most excited about. Wait, yes, we can. 28 years later, which is the movie. I know there was Night of the Living Dead, and a lot of people will coin Night of the Living Dead as the movie that got them into zombies. What got me into zombies was 28 days later and 28 weeks later. I didn't see the first one first. I saw the second one first and then saw the first one. So I am totally looking forward to 28 years later. I cannot wait for that. That is what gave me the love of zombies next to The Walking Dead. And I think The Walking Dead gave everybody the love of zombies. But however, that doesn't mean the other are any less important. We are finally getting a Final Destination movie 14 years after the last one. Can you believe the original is 24 years old? Rest in peace, Tony Todd. Tony Todd was also, he kind of had a role in the Final Destination films. He was like a creepy, what do you call it? Coroner. Like he worked in a morgue. This year, and then of course, I don't know if this did this to you, but Final Destination, whenever I see a big truck with a bunch of pipes on the back of it, I know other states have like logs on the back of the trucks. We don't get that here in California, but whenever I see a truck with like bricks or whatever, wood, I'm like, I am not driving behind that Final Destination 25. Like I always think of that. Or if I see something with glass on it or something, I'm like, nope, that's Final Destination 2050. I don't know if you guys do that, but I always do that because I always think of back to Final Destination. This year's canon starters such as Longlegs, Strange Darling, Cuckoo, The Substance, In a Violent Nature, Immaculate, and Azrael all have great runs, and we hope those filmmakers continue to bring us more. We aren't going to discount the history-making Terrifier 3, but give that a decade before it really becomes a legacy. In a Violent Nature, guys, if you have Shudder, don't bother watching it. It was a letdown. I have not seen the other ones. I do have a few, like Longlegs is on my list. Cuckoo is on my list. I've seen Azrael pop up on a bunch of lists, and then The Substance is also on my radar. But In a Violent Nature was a letdown. So please avoid it at all costs. I mean, unless you have nothing better to do and you want to just check it out and see what it is. But just a little preview. It is in the perception of the killer. So there is no, I guess, what do you call it? Like, secret. Like, you know what he's going to do. Like, there's no anticipation. There's no, you know what I mean? So it kind of just falls flat for me. Rooster, how's it going? Bernadette goes, that truck ruined all our driving experiences on the highway. Seeing that in the back? Yes! Shelly goes, The Walking Dead had some great zombies. They definitely did. I mean, every week they had a name for some certain zombies when they had the after show. But they did. Matthew goes, Return of the Living Dead got me. So 28 years later, which will be out in theaters on June 20th. I cannot wait. Plot is under wrap. The third film in the 28 Days Later franchise. There is going to be I Know What You Did Last Summer. Even the original actors that were in the first film did not know that they were making this one. A group of friends is terrorized by a stalker who knows about a gruesome incident from the past. I have a feeling this is going to be like a remake. You guys all know how I feel about remakes. Leave them alone. It's like Sydney says in Scream, I always use this, don't F with the original. And I agree. I mean, not to say this film's going to be bad. I'm not giving it a bad rap yet because none of us have seen it. It's going to come out in the summer. But it's just like, I want something that's original, when it comes to horror, not something that came out 20 years ago, and now you want to reimagine it for this but I get it. They want to reimagine it so they could bring it to this generation, but still, like, leave it. I mean, if your parents are horror fans, I'm sure you've seen it. Thread, there's gonna be another Insidious. I did come across this and I was like, what the? They're coming out with another Insidious. Like, we don't need it anymore. It is part of the I call it the Conjuring. It Conjuring universe. It's not part of the Conjuring universe, but it's from the same creators, and they do those jump scares with the loud music, and that is something I don't like. I don't mind jump scares. I just don't like it when you make it obvious. Like, that just loses its appeal to me. A couple resorts to a spell to travel back in time, hoping to prevent their daughter's tragic death. It's called Thread, an Insidious Tale. We don't need any more. I don't know how you feel about it, but I feel like we don't need any more. I saw this too. They are making another Conjuring is coming out called Last Rites, and I'm like, we don't need any more Conjuring movies. We've already debunked. Well, at least I feel like I debunked the story behind the Conjuring. I think we have enough craziness with the real life Conjuring house that we don't need another movie. But this one's going to come out September 5th, 2025. Paranormal investigators Ed, and then also too, because they're mentioning Ed and Lorraine Lauren, I've kind of debunked them. I've kind of felt like the more I learn about them, the more I'm realizing that they're not who they said they were. So I do take the cases that they're in with a grain of salt. I used to be, oh my God, Ed and Lorraine Warren, they're freaking legends. You know what I mean? I used to be like that. But then when I started reading about them, it started it started more toward like, wait a minute, they're not this, but they're more on this side of this. They're more fraudulent, I want to say. So I'm very skeptical when it comes to them. So it goes, paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren take on one last terrifying case involving mysterious entities they must confront. So I'm assuming this is the last one. Good. We don't need any more. Bernadette goes, we need the Jacqueline Conjuring movie. Exactly. We have enough with her. Bernadette also says it's like Freddy the Crow, Chucky, leave the great. Exactly. Leave the greats alone. Saw 11. They're making another Saw. Don't get me wrong. I love Saw. I love Saw. I've loved every single one of them. I just love Saw. It may not be for the faint of heart because there is a lot of it is gory, but at the same time it has plot twists where it makes you think like, who's the killer, who's this, who's that. So I feel like it is a gory movie, but at the same time it does make you think, and it makes you try. It kind of gets you engaged because, like I said, it makes you think, like, to figure out like who's the killer or like what's going on here. What is this? What's this plot? Bernadette goes, I saw that coming. There are no I guess the plot's under wraps. I think the new Saw was supposed to come out sooner, but they pushed it. There's another Predator, Badlands, coming out November 7th. Not much. There's no plot for that either. And then there's Final Destination Bloodlines. I don't know. I feel like we've had enough Final Destinations. Don't get me wrong. I've loved every Final Destination. I don't think you could go wrong with a Final Destination because it's crazy. Even though it's the same thing we see over and over where, death is taking a path one by one, or they cheat death, but in reality they didn't. It's every movie's kind of different, and I feel like, so I've always enjoyed them. Plus it's just like the death scenes are crazy. But those are movies that will be coming out in 2025. as well. It would help if I started. I've been noticing that this has been popping around, and I thought it was kind of interesting. Before we get into the witches, scientists reconstruct face of 17th century vampire buried with sickle across neck, padlock on foot. I always find it fascinating when they do mention vampires or anything like that. I'm like, oh my God, there's vampires. There's something about vampires. We always think of them as fictional characters, but when I see them actually in the news, I'm like, whoa. 2 years ago, a young woman's skeleton was found by archaeologists in Poland with an iron sickle across her neck and a padlock on her toe, likely anti-vampire practices that researchers said may have been used to keep her from rising from the grave. The discovery was made in the village of Pien, where archaeologists have found other unusual burials. The woman, who was later nicknamed Zosia, was buried sometime in the 17th century. She was between the ages of 17 and 21 when she passed, according to researchers from Nicholas Copernicus University who made the discovery. The team later worked with the sculptor and archaeologist Oscar D. Nilsson in Sweden to reconstruct Zosia's face using a 3D printed replica of the skull in clay, which was revealed this fall. So this is what the young woman who had passed from, because they thought she was a vampire, apparently, because she did have a sickle across her neck and her feet were padlocked, I believe it had said. Hug, what is up? My 22-year-old son is watching with me. Super cool. My son and I were just talking about vampires a little while ago. That crazy. That's cool. So this is what she looks like. They said she's between the ages of 17 and 21. That is pretty young to die, but I know a lot of people way back then, because they didn't have, would die young because medically they weren't as advanced as they are today. So a lot of people had died young because of diseases and sickness or whatever it may be. But she died at the hands of somebody because they thought she was a vampire. Poor thing. Seeing the remains of Zosia with my own eyes was emotional. It's such a sad story, Nilsson wrote in Facebook post on November 1st. It led me to the insight that Zosia must be depicted as a human being and not as the monster she was buried as. I that's the only reason why, if I had a chance to go back in time, I would be hesitant to go back in time, because if they ever, I know I've said this before in previous streams, but if I were to go back in time and they knew that I was from the future, depending on what part or what time I went back into, they would probably think I was a witch and send me to the stakes. If I went back when this young woman had passed, they may have thought I was a vampire or something. I don't know. So, I mean, a lot of people were killed. Innocent people were killed for, because they might have been in the wrong place at the wrong time. They didn't catch a sickness that everyone else was catching. So they automatically thought, oh, this must be the work of the devil or something like that. So I do feel for these people back then that lost their lives for nothing initially. Zosia had a roundish facial shape, and the distance between her nose and mouth was long. Nilsson said she also has a smooth vertical forehead over wide set eye sockets. Her skin color was decided by DNA and isotopic analysis, possibly pointing towards southern Sweden, he added. An interesting face, no vampire, just a young woman, possibly from a wealthy family, but clearly marked by her diseases, Nilsson wrote. What happened to Zosia? Gunner girl, how's it going? In history, people suspected of having supernatural powers were often buried in a specific way, such as with their faces down, tied with ropes in the fetal position, decapitated, pressed to the ground with a rock, or with their chests stabbed, according to the NCU researchers. When members of a given community were suspicious of a person, they sometimes opened the grave and added such anti-vampire artifacts, such as the sickle and padlock found in Zosia's unmarked grave. Maybe she passed away of a sickness and I thought they killed her because they thought she was a vampire, but it looks like she might have died and they put those things in her grave. Dr. Darius Polinsky, a professor from the Institute of Archaeology at NCU, noted how the farming tool likely did not seriously harm the woman at the time of her death, since her head was not cut off and the backbone remained in pristine condition. Upon her discovery, the media soon dubbed the skeleton a vampire, and while catchy, Polinsky said it's not exactly accurate. Our discovery does not necessarily indicate that a vampire was buried at that site, Polinsky explained. I would prefer to consider these practices as anti vampire procedures. The woman could possibly have some physical impairment or mental disorder and was thus mistreated by her neighbors who thought she would scare them to death. This is how she was found. This was her burial with the sickle across her neck. The researchers pushed back on the idea that the woman was a victim of some type of execution or punishment, such as witchcraft, because she was buried with care, probably in a coffin, although no remains of wood was found in the excavation site. Still, a visible contour of a pillow underlying her head was observed, which can suggest a high social status of a family she was born in, the team said in a press release. She was buried with her head covered with a bonnet, probably made of silk, because remains of the material were found in the site, the team said. The bonnet was decorated with a silver or golden weft. The research team said no other tampering in Zosia's grave was visible. That is a beautiful name. I do like her name that they gave her. The scientists also noticed mysterious greenish spots on her palate, which could indicate contact with an object made of copper or copper alloy. The team said in a press release about the 2022 discovery, had it been a coin, it would have been placed as the third means of protection against her return to the world of the living. One detail that drew the archaeologist's attention was the fact that the girl's left arm was not placed along her body but turned left, which the team called a mystery still to be solved. Other anti-vampire burials, the discovery of Zosa's skeleton in Pien is among more than 60 burials found at the site from the 17th century. 2 children and 1 teenager found in Pien were buried with coins in their mouth, the team said, while some burial sites contain stones arranged in shapes. Throughout the 17th and 18th century, many unusual burial practices occurred in Poland in response to a reported outbreak of vampires, research says. Most recently, archaeologists about 200 miles away in Kelm, Poland, found the remains of a child that had been decapitated. And I think I reported about this on a previous stream. The burial clearly shows signs of anti-vampire practices, which were aimed at stopping the dead from rising again. Dr. Stanislav Golub, an archaeologist with the Lublin Voivodeship Conservative of Monuments, who led the excavation, said in September. So I still find when I read articles about this, like we don't know what she died of, but they're thinking maybe she had some ailment that people didn't like about her, and that's probably why they thought she might have been a vampire. But at least she wasn't killed for being a vampire. At least as far as we know, she wasn't. Because I feel like that's kind of sad. But I do like vampires. I was gonna start off the stream with the first woman to be with the first witch in Italy, but we'll do the history of witches and we'll go on to the first I think I've been more fascinated with vampires than witches, but then witches also have some coolness to them. I know there's people that practice Wicca that do consider themselves witches. They do celebrate the seasons. So they do celebrate like Samhain, which was Halloween, Beltane. They don't celebrate Christmas. They celebrate Yule. Stuff like that. But there are people, there's different types of witches. There's the herb witch, kitchen witch, that people do consider themselves today, even. Hug goes. My son Devin says, hi, everyone. He finds this stuff to be interesting too. Oh, super cool. Hi, Devin. How's it going? So witches were perceived as evil beings by early Christians in Europe, inspiring the iconic Halloween figure. Images of witches have appeared in various forms throughout history, from evil, wart-nosed women huddling over a cauldron of boiling liquid to hag-faced, cackling beings riding through the sky on brooms, wearing pointy hats. In pop culture, the witch has been portrayed as a benevolent, nose-twitching suburban housewife, an awkward teenager learning to control her powers, and a trio of charmed sisters battling the forces of evil. The real history of witches, however, is dark and often, for the witches, deadly. The origins of witches. Early witches were people who practiced witchcraft using magic spells and calling upon spirits for help or to bring about change. Most witches were thought to be pagans doing the devil's work. However, I don't consider them pagans to be evil. I know some people do, but I don't. Many, however, were simply natural healers or so-called wise women whose choice of profession was misunderstood. It's unclear exactly when witches came on the historical scene, but one of the earliest records of a witch is in the Bible, in the book of 1 Samuel, thought be written between 931 BC and 721 BC. It tells the story of when King Saul sought the witch of Endor to summon the dead prophet Samuel's spirit to help him defeat the Philistine army. The witch roused Samuel, who then prophesied the death of Saul and his sons. The next day, according to the Bible, Saul's sons died in battle and Saul committed Other Old Testament verses condemn witches, such as the oft-cited Exodus 22:18, which says, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." Additional biblical passages caution against divination, chanting, or using witches to contact the dead. Malleus Maleficarum. Witch. Bernadette goes, it's still the season of the witch all year long for me. Witch hysteria really took hold in Europe during the mid-1400s, when many accused witches confessed, often under torture, to a variety of wicked behaviors. Within a century, witch hunts were common, and most of the accused were executed by burning at the stake or hanging. Single women, widows, and other women on the margins of society were especially targeted. And these women, half these women, I feel like I'm going to say all these women, because I don't believe any of these women that were accused and were put to death for witchcraft were actually witches. So I feel like a bunch of innocent people were put to death during this time when they shouldn't have been. Gunner Girl, thank you for being a member of the Wolf Pack for 15 months. You brighten my day, Lisa. You're awesome. Thank you, Gunner Girl. I appreciate that. Hearts for Gunner Girl, guys. So between the years 1500 and 1660, up to 80,000 suspected witches were put to death in Europe. 80,000 people. 80,000 innocent people. Because I'm going to say they're innocent. I feel like they were innocent. I don't feel like these women, I feel like it was mostly women. These women were just themselves. Maybe they didn't believe what the king at the time believed in, and they were considered a witch. Because if you didn't follow what the king believed religious-wise, then you would be put to death too. If you, like I said earlier, if everyone around you was sick and you didn't get sick, they would definitely think, oh, that's the work of the devil, you're a witch. If someone passed away in front of you, and it had nothing to do with you, they would have said, you are the cause of it. It's a witch. So I do, that's the, like I said earlier, that's the one thing that would put me back from going back in time to this particular era. Because they would definitely think I was a witch if they ever found out I was from the future. Shelly, I don't know. I think there was men too. But I want to say it's mostly women, but I could be mistaken. Let me Google that. Witch trials. Women? So it does say women were the primary targets of the Salem witch trials and other witch trials in New England. Okay, among the 9, because there, Google goes, how many of the accused witches were women? It goes among the 960 suspected identified by the group of accusers, 855 were female and 105 were male. So it was predominantly female. And that's probably why witches that we see today are primarily female. They do have a male version of a witch. They call it a warlock, I would say. But I rarely see them say anything about a warlock. So between the years 1500 and 1660, up to 80,000 suspected witches were put to death in Europe. Around 80% of them were women thought to be in cahoots with the devil and filled with lust. Germany had the highest witchcraft execution rate, while Ireland had the lowest. The publication of Malleus Maleficarum, written by 2 well-respected German Dominicans in 1486, likely spurred witch mania to go viral. The book, usually translated as The Hammer of Witches, was essentially, actually, I like Malleus Maleficarum better. I don't know, that just sounds more, that sounds cooler than The Hammer of Witches. Was essentially a guide on how to identify, hunt, and interrogate witches. Malleus Maleficarum labeled witchcraft as hearsay and quickly became the authority of Protestants and Catholics trying to flesh out witches living among them. For more than 100 years, the book sold more copies of any other book in Europe except the Bible. So the Salem witch trials, which are probably the most known one, more people know about the Salem witch trials. I did mention on a previous stream, there also was the Connecticut witch trials, which a lot of people don't know about. As witch hysteria decreased in Europe, it grew in the New World, which was reeling from wars between the French and British, a smallpox epidemic, and the ongoing fear of attacks from neighboring Native American tribes. The tense atmosphere was ripe for finding scapegoats. Probably the best known witch trial took place in Salem, Massachusetts in 1692. The Salem. Wendy, what is up? Matthew goes, I always thought the name Warlock is weird. We have the key to the Warlock. It is like, Matthew, to get back, I'll get back in the article. Warlock just seems weird to me, but that is more like what a male witch would be called. So it's crazy. Carol, how's it going? The Salem witch trial began when 9-year-old Elizabeth Parris and 11-year-old Abigail Williams began suffering from fits, body contortions, and uncontrolled screaming. Today, it is believed that they were poisoned by fungus that caused spasm and delusion. As more young women began to exhibit symptoms, mass hysteria ensued, and 3 women were accused of witchcraft. And it was all because of a sickness. And it's because at that time, they weren't as medically advanced. So when something happened, they automatically accuse someone of witchcraft, or because the knowledge of specific like sicknesses weren't there. And 3 women were accused of witchcraft: Sarah Good, Sarah Osborne, and Tituba, an enslaved woman owned by Paris's father. Tituba confessed to being a witch and began accusing others of using black magic. On June 10th, Bridget Bishop became the first accused witch to be put to death during the Salem witch trials when she was hanged at the Salem gallows. Ultimately, around 150 people were accused and 18 were put to death. Women weren't the only victims of the Salem witch trials. 6 men were also convicted and executed. Also, to add on to Shelley's question, I agree with you, Shelley. Shelley goes, it sure didn't take much to be accused of witchcraft. It didn't. It really didn't. Massachusetts wasn't the first of the 13 colonies to obsess about witches, though. In Windsor, Connecticut in 1647, Isles Young was the first person in America executed for witchcraft before Connecticut's final witch trial took place in 1697. 46 people were accused of witchcraft in the state and 11 were put to death for the crime. In Virginia, people were less frantic about witches. In fact, the lower Norfolk County in 1655, a law was passed making it a crime to falsely accuse someone of witchcraft. All right, keep in mind, if we ever go back in time, go to Norfolk County. Lower Norfolk County in 1655 because they put in a law. Which, good. Still, witchcraft was a concern. About 24 witch trials, mostly of women, took place in Virginia between 1626 and 1730. None of the accused were executed. Well, at least they weren't executed. That was a good. Are witches real? One of the most famous witches in Virginia's history is Grace Sherwood, whose neighbors alleged she'd killed their pigs and hexed their cotton. Other accusations followed, and Sherwood was brought to trial in 1706. The court decided to use a controversial water test to determine her guilt or innocence. Sherwood's arms and legs were bound, and she was thrown into a body of water. It was thought if she sank, she was innocent. If she floated, she was guilty. Obviously she sank. Obviously. Sherman didn't sink. Oh, she didn't sink. What? I was thinking she sank. No, Sherwood didn't sink and was convicted of being a witch. She wasn't killed but put in prison and for 8 years. I was thinking she didn't. Oh, they didn't put a weight on her. All they did was, okay, I was thinking that they put like a rock on her or something for her. Okay, duh. It said Sherwood's arms and legs were bound and she was thrown into a body of water. Of course you're going to float. I thought they did that and they added a stone because I remember in a previous stream I read about them doing that exact same thing, but they used a stone and the women obviously didn't float. Carol goes, I was born and raised in Connecticut. My dad was born in Connecticut. But at least she wasn't put to death. But she was put in prison for 8 years. A satirical article supposedly written by Benjamin Franklin about a witch trial in New Jersey was published in 1730 in the Pennsylvania Gazette. It brought to light the ridiculousness of some witchcraft accusations. It wasn't long before witch mania died down in the New World and laws were passed to help protect people from being wrongly accused and convicted. The Book of Shadows, there is, like I said, there are people that do practice witchcraft. It's Wicca. I've dabbled in Wicca. I don't consider myself Wiccan though. I'm more of a. I consider myself more. I'm eclectic because I'm more eclectic because I do pick from. I don't just follow one path. I follow many because I'm more of a spiritual type of person than like a religious one. Bible-wise religious one, as I call it. Modern day witches of the Western world still struggle to shake their historical stereotypes. Most practice Wicca, an official religion in the United States and Canada. Wiccans avoid evil and the appearance of evil at all costs. They do not believe that there's a hell. They don't believe in heaven or hell. They don't believe that if I'm not mistaken, they don't believe that there's a devil. They don't believe in heaven, but they do believe in a place called Summerland. I had always believed that there is evil. And there is evil and good. There's also evil and good with people living, like an addiction or someone going through depression or something. So I've always felt like there is some sort of evil in this world. People can be evil. So I never, even when I was looking into Wicca, I never really, that was one thing that I kind of didn't follow. I know some people do follow that, but I feel like there is evil. Shelly, thank you for that super chat. Loving the witchy subject, Lisa. Hearts for Shelly. Thank you, Shelly. I appreciate that. They also celebrate the Sabbaths, which how I describe it, it's like the changing of the seasons. So they've got Samhain, they've got Beltane. I can't think of all of them on the top of my head at the moment. You can also be baptized as a Wiccan, because they do have their own spell that you can cast for that as well. Wiccans, and it was weird when I found it. I found it in my 20s. I noticed that because I was really into new metal at the time. That was my jam. I was a rocker chick, and my jam was new metal. And I got into Godsmack. The lead singer, Sully Erna, was a Wiccan. So I was like, what is Wicca? So I started looking into it, and it was something that I could connect with at the time, because I never really connected with the Bible, or I call them mainstream religion, like Catholics and Christians. I've been to a Christian church with my friends. I've been, my grandmother was, Catholic, going to church. She would take me to church with her. And I never felt connected to it. Nothing wrong if you guys do believe in that. I'm open to I'm open to anyone believing in anything. But for me, that was what my path was, and I just never really connected with it. But then when I found Wicca, I did. And it was like, oh my God, this is like kind of how I felt all my life, because I've always been into like Native American beliefs. I've always been connected with nature. I've always been more of on the spiritual side of things than what was said in the Bible might say. I never really believed in the Bible. I know there's people that do, nothing wrong with that, but this is just me. I just never really, growing up, I never connected with it. Wiccans avoid evil and the appearance of evil at all costs. Their motto is to harm none, and they strive to lead peaceful, tolerant, and balanced life in tune with nature and humanity. Wiccans also, too, they accept everyone. There's no one that they accept everyone. I felt like with Christian and Catholicism, some people weren't accepted in it. But Wiccans would always accept anybody, no matter their preference, their sexual preference, no matter who their background, no matter what it was. And I always thought that was kind of cool about it. Many modern day witches still perform witchcraft, but there's seldom anything sinister about it. And I kind of kept it to myself. Going back into the story, I kind of kept it to myself because I felt like if you told someone that you were Wiccan, I never considered myself a witch though, but if you told yourself you were Wiccan or pagan, they would automatically think you studied, you were the devil or you're evil. So I always kept it to myself, but now I feel like it's more open than back then, and people know more about it, because the symbol is for Wicca is a pentagram. And a lot of people automatically see a pentagram and they're like, "Oh my God, you're a Satan worshiper." The Satanists, their symbol is an upside down pentagram. So whenever I watch programs, and they talk about Satanism, I'm like, okay. Or they talk about Wicca, if they show the symbol, to see how much they do know, because sometimes they'll do the wrong symbol, and I'm like, no, that is not the satanic one. So I always felt like because of that symbol, people it gave it a bad rap, but it doesn't. It really isn't what you think it is. Many modern day witches still perform witchcraft, but there's seldom anything sinister about it. Their spells and incantation are often derived from their Book of Shadows, a 20th century collection of wisdom and witchcraft, and can be compared to the act of prayer in other religions. A modern day witchcraft potion is more likely to be an herbal remedy for the flu instead of a hex to harm someone. Basically, like I said earlier, Wiccan's motto is to harm none. So nothing they ever do is against someone. It's not like you're doing voodoo or anything against someone or anything like that. Today's witchcraft spells are usually used to stop somebody from doing evil or harming themselves. Ironically, while it's probably some historical witches used witchcraft for evil purposes, many may have embraced it for healing or protection against the immorality they were accused of. But witches, whether actual or accused, still face persecution and death. Several men and women suspected of using witchcraft have been beaten and killed in Papua New Guinea since 2010, including a young mother who was burned alive. What? Similar episodes of violence against people accused of being witches have occurred in Africa, South America, and the Middle East, and in immigrant communities in Europe and the United States. So that's a little bit about witches. And like I said, there are people that do consider themselves witches. I've heard of kitchen witches who do kitchen magic. There is such a thing. There's herbal magic, there's mirror magic, there's candle magic. If you name they do use a Ouija board, but that's where I have 13 people watching. My lucky number. Super cool. But I know a lot of people are like, oh, the Ouija board, but it's weird. Like in Wicca, it's completely different. Like you do use it. People do use it, but they always say like, because when you cast a spell, you do open a circle to close that circle when you finish the spell. Because if you don't close that circle, something can come through. But I don't really mess with Ouija boards, even though I do have them. Wendy goes, I do magic in my kitchen for sure, 100%. Where did the comments go? There. Sully is a shorty from Godsmack. I don't know if he is or not, but a little story about, I'm going down a rabbit hole, little story about Sully. So they weren't, Godsmack, it was weird. I feel like a lot of bands, when they do get found, they're like in their 20s, like young. Godsmack, Sully was 35 when they signed him. They were about to give up. And I like Sully Earring. I still follow him today. To this day. But yeah, I think he was working at a bank or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. And they were about to give up, if I'm not mistaken. And they were signed. So never give up on your dreams, because you never know what happens. You never know what's going to happen. Shelly goes, I wish I had a kitchen to do magic in. You don't have a kitchen, Shelly? Oh, that's right, Hug. I have 14 watching because her son's watching as well. Bernadette goes, there's also like where my family members have, and I as well, shamans, been learning more about what runs in my veins. Shamans are cool too. I've always been, like I said, I've always been into that. I've always been more on the spiritual side than I kind of gave you a little bit background into my belief system here. I've always believed in the universe, like the moon, like being pulled by energies. I've always been into that more so than like the Bible or I never connected with it growing up. And no matter how hard I tried, I never connected with it. So Wendy goes, I saw Godsmack in Miami outdoor arena, found empty spaces. It was the mosh pit, best show ever. Wendy, you went to a Godsmack concert? I saw Godsmack. It was right before, it was a weekend before, because their album Awake, I believe it was called, but the single Awake was on. It's probably one of my favorite music videos by them. It was a couple days before Halloween, because that album had came out on Halloween. So I saw it was Godsmack, Limp Bizkit, and DMX at the Great Western Forum. It is not known as the Great Western Forum anymore. It's called the Kia Forum now. But yes, I was able to see them too way back in the day. Nerd Report with the raid.
What up? What up? What up? Hey, welcome to Grayson Report. My name is Lewis. Andy Signor at Popcorn Planet just raided Lisa. Do you have it set up for subscriber only for chat?
Yeah.
Okay, hit that one. If this is the first time here, let us know where you're watching from. Is Miss Universe? What do you think of that? This is horror. This is Lisa Grayson. Let's get the subs in here. How many people do we got? 466. Subscribe right now. Grayson Report, yo. There we go.
You scared the crap out
All right, entertain. If you love true crime, if you love horror, this is a girl for you. Support. You guys want to support women that do YouTube? This is a girl. She's weird. She does everything. Hit her up with a super chat. Who's going to be the first super chat? Yeah, Grayson Report. There you go. Show's yours. My asshole almost showed. Where are you watching from, everybody? Where's everyone watching?
Where's everyone watching from? After he scared the crap out of me. I was not expecting that. What's up, Andy? What's up, Heather Salvatore? How's everyone doing? Matthew goes, Lisa is Miss Horrorverse. Martine, how's it going? I even lost the train of thought of what I was talking about. Wendy, thank you for that super sticker. Hearts for Wendy, guys. Andy goes, Lewis is the best wingman ever. He is. So you guys
also say thank you. Yo, thank you, Andy, in the chat. Hey, thank you, Andy, in the chat. And Yami, what's up? What's up? What's up?
I just kicked the. Sorry, I kicked the camera because he came on. Sorry, guys. Be a stoned. What is up? Hugs goes. He gets us amped. He definitely does. I'm like kind of afraid to go on that. He's gonna jump scare me again. And not a lot of things get me, but that got me. All right, if you're just coming in now, we were talking about the history of witchcraft. Andy, thank you for the super chat or super chat. Hearts for Andy, guys, for putting up with Lewis all these years. Thank you, Andy. Hearts for Andy, guys. So if you're just getting here, we were talking about the history of witchcraft. And I was talking a little bit about modern day witches who practice Wicca. Heather Salvatore, thank you for that super chat as well. Hearts for Heather. Thank you, guys. Now I can't even talk. I lost my train of thought. That's what happens when you get a jump scare, guys. You saw live Lisa get jump scared. So in Italy, it's all about witchcraft, guys. We're all going to talk about witches. In Italy, it is said that's where the first in Volterra is where the first witch, world's first witch, comes from. I thought it was kind of crazy because Volterra sounds like the Volturi. You guys are familiar with Twilight, and I go, I'm wondering if they got.
Oh, wait, that didn't work?
No.
Okay, bye.
You were making me go out.
Okay, bye, guys.
Go away.
Let them know you're on all the time.
All right, if you guys are new here, I'm sorry, guys. All right, guys, if you're new here, I do stream Monday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. I'm probably gonna have to adjust the time because I've been kind of late. So about 7:30ish p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I am on the West Coast here in SoCal. Gutter Girl Lewis scared the crap out of me. Bernadette. Oh yeah, Bernadette scared a clown, so she didn't like that. That's more of a Joker clown, though. That's not a clown. So as I was saying, Volterra kind of sounds like the Volturi if you're familiar with Twilight. So I'm wondering if that's where they got the inspiration for their name. Volterra, home to 3 civilization and the world's first witch. Volterra, an archaeological gem in the province of Pisa in Italy, is often eclipsed by more famous historical sites. This beautiful village, however, dates to the Etruscan period and also contains many fascinating Roman ruins and medieval buildings. It is also known to fans of a certain trilogy as the safest town in the world for vampire attacks. And also, if you are new here too, I do talk about all things spooky, paranormal, UFOs, aliens, strange and unusual with some true crime trickled in. I do with movie news, I do add some horror movie news as well. Matthew goes how Lewis can put up with how Lisa can put up with Lewis. She is a saint. Volterra was first occupied by the 8th century BC and was originally a fortified statement on the hill. The first known inhabitants of the settlement were the Etruscans, and it became an important urban center, one of the main cities in Etruscan League, then known as Velathri or Velathri. The Romans conquered the area in the 3rd century BC, and the town, which they called Volterra, eventually became a municipium and gradually became Romanized. Although initially inhabitants of such municipalities were considered Roman citizens without voting rights, the town continued to be prosperous under the Romans due to the influence the local Caecine family held with various Roman rulers. I'm butchering some of these names. I apologize in advance. Including Caesar and Octavian, several members of the Caecine clan served as consults, which explains the town elevated status to a colonial. Augusta, the highest state given to Roman cities. Whenever I read about Romans, it reminds me of Spartacus. I don't know if you guys have ever, or if you guys remember Spartacus Blood and Sand that was on Stars. I loved that show. It was amazing. So whenever they talk about Romans, I'm automatically I go right back to that show. With the fall of the Roman Empire, it was ruled successfully by the Ostrogoths, Byzantines, Lombards, and the Franks. When the Frankish Empire collapsed, Volterra became independent. The citizens of the town were able to maintain their independence from their more powerful neighbors for many years. It was, however, finally conquered by Florence in the 16th century and came back the controller of the famous and supremely affluent Medici family, who earned their wealth through commerce and banking. Hug! Thank you for that super chat, Lisa. I want to be best friends with you, and we have so much in common, and you always lift my spirits. Hearts for hugs, guys. Thank you, Hug. You are awesome. I hope to visit the East Coast one day. Check out Massachusetts. Matthew going Etruscan. Matthew, I think your pronunciation of it's better than what I said. I butchered it. Nerd report. Oh my god, I can't even talk. Nerd report with the super chat train. I think this is kind of giving a history lesson on the area. During the 17th century, the town went into a period of decline. Ironically, this period of decline may have helped to preserve the many important buildings and its hinterland. Like historic areas, Volterra is associated with many myths and legends such as magic and witchcraft, when many relate back to its Etruscan heritage. Matthew, I think you're correct on this one. The first ever witch, Aradia, lived here, sent by the goddess Diana to teach sorcery to humans. The large boulder leading into town is also associated with witches who would gather at the rock of Mandringa in the Middle Ages. Some still swear that on Saturday nights they can hear chilling screams, inexplicable whispers, and the sickening scent of sulfur. Numerous archaeological digs have taken place from the 19th century and the 20th century. Volterra became a popular tourist destination. It seems like a cool place to go to, actually. There's 3 civilizations of Volterra. What is remarkable about this hillside town is that it contains the remains of not 1, but 3 civilizations. Among the Etruscan remains are the walls of the town dating to the 4th century BC. Although these have been modified down the years, the Porta al Arco, a gateway located in the walls, was partially remodeled by the Romans in the 1st century BC. The vaulted arc is carved out of huge rectangular stone blocks with 3 mysterious weathered heads watching passerbyers. They are thought to represent Etruscan or Roman gods. Bernadette, thank you for being a member of the Wolf Pack for 19 months. Hearts for Bernadette. Thank you, Bernadette, for the support. Heather Salvatore goes, you could come for my zombie wedding then? That would be cool, actually, Heather. Nerd Report, thank you for being a member of the Wolf Pack for 19 months as well. I think 19 months ago is when I started memberships on this channel. So that's a lot of people are going to be 19 months. Hearts for Nerd Report. Super chat train. Who's next? Thank you, Nerd Report, for the support as well. Many Etruscan burials have been found in the area, and it's possible to see some of these in the vicinity. The Guanasi Etruscan Museum is justly famous for its 600 Etruscan funerary urns and other important artifacts from the culture. You're trying.
I want Jake Paul. Give me Jake Paul right now. I want Jake Paul. Put me on big screen. Put me on big screen. Right now. Come on. I want Jake Paul. Jake, you beat my man Tyson? Huh? Well, guess what?
Hold on.
I'm younger than Mike Tyson. I'm faster than Mike Tyson. And I hit harder than Mike Tyson. Bring in those super chats if you want to see me versus Jake Paul. Come on. I'm going to open up with some jabs. Right hand. Uppercut. Come on, Jake. Come on. I'm going to knock you out, bitch. I'm going to knock you out. All right? Jake Paul, come at me. Nerd Report versus Jake Paul for the undisputed YouTube heavyweight champion of the world. Who wants that? Hit the hearts. Hit the likes. Hit the super chats right now for Grayson Report. Let's go. I dare you. Come on, Jake.
As long as we don't see your butt cheeks, we're fine.
Off-camera butt cheeks.
Sorry. I can't talk anymore. Thank you, Heather Salvatore, for that super sticker. And thank you, Bernadette, for the super chat. Choo-choo. Hearts for Heather. I can't even talk. Hearts for Heather Salvatore and Bernadette. Thank you, ladies. Shelly, thank you for that super chat as well. Shelly goes, oh my God. Hearts for Shelly. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate it when I can talk. Hold on. Let me get my breath. I got to breathe. I'm laughing so hard. Oh my God. That was hilarious. That was hilarious. I was making sure I didn't forget anybody on this end. Give me a second while I compose myself. Heather Salvatore, also thank you for your PayPal earlier. Hearts for Heather Salvatore as well. Wendy goes, I'm snorting from laughing so hard. Hugs goes, I've never seen Lisa laugh so hard. So I lost. When he does that, I lose my train of thought too. Now I'm like looking at the door. I'm going to be like this from now on. So I don't even know what I was reading or where I finished reading. Or if I even... But anyways, Volterra in Italy is considered the it's got a magic rock. Myths of the rock. So they're saying the first ever witch was Aradia, who was sent by the goddess Diana. And we'll finish. We'll end there because I got sidetracked. Matthew goes, butt cheeks were pork. Nerd Report goes, if someone super chat $10, I'll come in with bunny ears. Go. So if you guys super chat $10, Nerd Report will come in with bunny ears. I want to hear Lisa pronounce Leominster, Massachusetts. So Nerd he will come in if anyone super chats $10. He'll come in with bunny ears. Bernadette, thank you for your $10 super chat. Hearts for Bernadette. Hop in, Nerd Report. And I'm prepared for the door this time because the door is over on this side. And it is a full moon, so that might be why Lewis is acting crazy. Or it's been a full moon. I don't want to start an article because I'm afraid he's going to jump in. So, continuing the witches. 8 most famous Italian witches of all time. Come in.
What's so funny? What's so funny? What's so funny?
Heather Salvatore, thank you for that super chat. Did you say hi to Capone? Lewis's cheeks. Capone, how's it going?
What's so funny?
Hearts for Heather.
Get off that chair. Get off that chair right now. Look.
Hold on.
But get out of the chair. I'm hearing that some people are laughing. This is serious business. It's haunted shit. What's up, everybody? My name is Lisa Grayson. Welcome to the Grayson Report. You got to take this YouTube thing more serious.
I do, but I can't help it. You look ridiculous.
Why do I look ridiculous?
What else?
Do I look ridiculous, folks?
Just go to its hunting season. You better watch it.
You guys, what is she laughing at? Carol's been a member for 11 months. Thank you. Thank you, Carol. If you've been a member here at Grayson Report, please do me a favor and hit those emojis, hearts for Carol. Grayson Report. We talk horror. Yeah. 800 people here. Martine, what is up? Where are you watching from? Where's everybody watching from?
Thank you, Martine, for that super.
Do you mind, ma'am? This is my show. Who is this person? They call me.
Mr. Hippity Hop.
Do you mind? This is my joke. They call me Bad Bunny. slipped.
What did you do that for? Hold on. As I grab the chair. I can't even talk. I'm laughing. I don't even know what I was talking about. I know, Wendy, I'm lost too. Heather Salvador goes, he needs to shake it for her. Matthew goes, we were laughing so much we were dying and becoming ghosts tonight. I mean, at least we died having a good time, right? Mercy Brown is in the chat, Mama Lekka. Hug goes, I hope that bunny didn't leave any droppings. No, he didn't. He did not at all. And I did mention we do talk about the strange and unusual. That was strange and unusual. Bernadette goes, just glad we didn't see Nerd Report's full moon. Matthew goes, leaves Cuban chocolate pieces behind. So, I lost my train of thought. I don't even know what to talk about anymore. Oh, that's right. Hug goes full super mood, definitely. You know how they always said, I know when I used to be an explorer, they used to say like all the crazies would come out during the full moon. And I know Wendy has mentioned too with the hospitals as well. That happens there too. Yes. Wendy goes, we are in a deep dive. So as I was saying, we are talking about wishes today. I'm kind of afraid to stop because I'm waiting for him to come through the door again. So this is the 8 most famous Italian witches of all time. Ever wondered about the famous Italian witches who made history? Italian. Now I can't even read. Is packed with stories of magic and powerful witches known for Stregeheria. Witchcraft has been a huge presence in Italy, both positively and negatively. Witches in Italy are infamous going back thousands of years. Growing up, my Italian grandmother from south of Italy used to tell me stories about the dangers of the strega, or the Italian witch. Witchcraft has a huge presence in Italy, so there are many infamous Italian witches. In this post, we'll explore the most famous witches of Italy. Let's dive in. What is Italian witchcraft? Italian witchcraft, often referred to as Stregeheria, is a rich and complex mashup of beliefs and practices rooted in the ancient traditions of Italy. This form of witchcraft can be traced back to the pre-Christian era when the Romans and Etruscans practiced rituals dedicated to various gods and goddesses, nature spirits, and ancestral spirits. Nerd Report goes, I'll come in rapping with ears on with the next $10 super chat. Wendy, thank you for that super chat. Hearts for Wendy. Jay Brimble, how's it going? Good to see you in the chat. Heather Salvatore goes different from other witches. I believe so. I think they practice something different. Over time, as Christianity began to spread across the Italian peninsula, these ancient pagan practices didn't disappear. Instead, they adapted and merged with the new religious context. This amalgamation led to a unique blend of Christian and pagan tradition, rituals, and folklore. Shelley, thank you for that super chat. 20 bucks. Close enough, Shelley. Compensation for dealing with Lewis. Thank you, Shelley. Hearts for Shelley and Wendy.
Yo, somebody call in a rap?
Yeah, they did.
What's wrong?
You look ridiculous with those ears on. Hold on.
This one goes out to all the supporters. To all the supporters today that have super chatted. My name is Louis Bunny. This is Grayson Report. I am a guest here. Thank you very much for having me. Want you all to remember me when the next music awards are on. We're going to be hosting them and stuff. And I want to dedicate this rap to you, Grayson Report, and to all you, the supporters that have been here throughout the years, throughout all the years. A 1, a 2, a 3. It's a Grayson Report. Yeah. It's a Grayson Report. Choo-choo-choo-choo-choo. It's a fuck. Whose fucking balls are these? Whose fucking balls are these?
Those are mine.
Oh shit, they're mine.
I was gonna say those are mine.
So many distractions in the studio. All right, hold on a second. I wrote this one down. Do you mind, ma'am? It's a Grayson Report. Yeah. It's a Grayson Report. Chuka, 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 chuka. Tales of glory, where shadows creep in the haunted story. Nightmares unfold. No place for glory. It's a Grayson Report. Yeah. It's a Grayson Report. Chuka, 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 chuka. Tales of darkness. Tales of are gory. Holy shit, who wrote this? This is awful. Where shadows creep in a haunted story. Nightmares unfold. No place for glory. It's a Grayson Report. Yeah. It's a Grayson Report. Woo, woo. Hello? Yeah, I'll make you some pizza when I'm done with the stream, son. Love you. It's a Grayson Report. Yeah. It's a Grayson Report. A place of horror. It's a Grayson Report. It's a place of, what else did you hear? True crime. It's a shime. I don't know what the fuck. That one jumped the shark, nuked the fridge, right? Mm-hmm. All right. Anyways, that was a good rap. Thank you, everybody. Keep watching. Lisa, what is your topic today, Lisa? Witches. Okay, we're talking about witches, true crime, horror, and all that stuff. I just thought I'd come in here because she got a little bit overwhelmed by the massive raid on Popcorn Planet. I'm Nerd Report if you want to check out that channel and stuff like that. I'm not a lunatic over there as much as I am here, but here I can be because I don't care. I don't care. This isn't my channel. I can be whoever the fuck I want, all right?
Wait a minute. What are you giving me a BB-8 for?
Have it play with the other ball.
I'm gonna put it right here. Lisa Boo goes, what did I just see? What's up, Lisa Boo? Bernadette goes, thanks for the hippity hop rap nerd report. Witty goes, it's a mini. Yeah, it is a mini BB-8. But I lost track of what I was doing. I was going to ask you, Lisa Boo, did you just come in? Jay Purple goes, is Lewis okay? I think he's just having fun. Hug goes, does that bunny leave behind Cadbury eggs? Actually, Cadbury eggs, they're super rich. I think I tried one recently and I'm like, Bernadette goes, I feel like Winifred from Hocus Pocus. What just happened? Hug goes, I'm suddenly craving chocolate. All right, so what I was talking about before I was interrupted was witchcraft. And I was talking about the witches of Volterra. That is where the world's first witch has come from. There's also there's a lot of folklore coming into. So then I went into 8 famous witches, and it was talking about Italian witchcraft, which I did not know there was a difference between regular witchcraft and Italian witchcraft. Over time, as Christianity began to spread across the Italian peninsula, these ancient pagan practices didn't disappear. Instead, they adapted and emerged with the new religious context. This amalgamation led to unique blends of Christian and pagan tradition, rituals, and folklore. Throughout history, the strega, which is a female witch, or stragon, actually, I like that better for a male witch, stragon, played a crucial role in local committees. Often they were the healers, seers, and wise folks that villagers would turn to for guidance, remedies, and blessings. Their practices would often include the use of herbs, divination, and invoking the aid of spirits or deities like Diana, Ardea, and others. However, like in many parts of Europe, the witch hunts and trials of the Renaissance and early modern period also touched Italy. Many accused of practicing witchcraft faced persecution, further pushing Stregheria and its practitioners into the shadows. What's interesting is that while many Italian witches were healers, the Italians seemed to be much more afraid of the strega in general than, say, Celtic tribes. Even today, the strega is considered the kiss of death. With that being said, there are some pretty powerful Italian witches in history. Let's dive in and learn more about these women. Famous Italian witches. Here are the top 8 most famous Italian witches in history you should know about. Ardea de Toscano. They did mention a little bit about her. She is considered the first witch of the world. When talking about witches in Italy, Ardea de Toscano often tops the list. A key figure in the world of witchcraft, many believe Ardea was the very first witch in Italy, as told in Charles Leland's Ardea, or the Gospel of Witches, from 1899. Ardea was no ordinary person. She was said to be the daughter of Diana, the moon and witchcraft goddess, and Lucifer, known as the light bringer. Lucifer Lucifer is known as the light bringer. Lucifer to me is the like hell. So why was she here? Ardia had a special mission to teach regular folks, especially those having a tough time, the ways of witchcraft. This was a way for them to stand up against the big bosses of the time. Ardia, as portrayed in Charles Leyland's Ardia of the Gospel of the Witches, wasn't exactly depicted as a figure to be feared by the common people. Instead, she was presented as a savior or teacher to the opposed peasants. She was sent to Earth to teach them the ways of witchcraft to empower them against their oppressors. However, it's conceivable that the ruling classes, clergy, and others in position of power who become aware of her teachings might have feared her, or at least the empowerment and rebellion she represented. This is because Ardia's message was about leveling the playfield, about giving the downtrodden the means to rise against their oppressor using witchcraft. Matthew goes, yeah, speaking about Lucifer, back when he was an angel before becoming a devil. Nixie goes, the Volterra. That is actually, I had mentioned that, Nixie. That's where I'm wondering if that's where they got the inspiration for that name in Twilight. Is it if it's from that city? So I'm wondering. Matthew goes, Italian witchcraft, they speak in the original language Latin. Tanakia, going way back to the ancient days of Rome, Tanakia, or Tanakilla, but I think it's Tanakia, was a revered prophetess and the wife of the fifth king of Rome, Lucius Tarquinius Priscus. I don't know, the names in Rome were hilarious. Lucius Tarquinius Priscus. Her most notable act was foretelling her husband's rise to the throne. Legend has it that while still living in their hometown of Tranquilla had a vision that they would become king and queen of Rome. Her predictions didn't stop there. She also foresaw the end of her reign, advising him to prepare for a sudden and tragic end. Tranquilla wisdom wasn't just limited to prophecies. She played a crucial role in the political landscape of Rome during their time. After her husband's assassination, she managed to maintain stability in the kingdom of masterfully managing the transition of power to her son-in-law. With her foresight and diplomatic skill, Tranquilla solidified her place as one of the most impactful witches in ancient Italian history. Befana, a beloved figure in Italian folklore, Befana is often termed as the Christmas witch. Although she's not a deity or saint in the conventional sense, her origins have pagan undertones. Befana is an old woman who, on the eve of the Epiphany, flies on her broomstick to deliver gifts to children throughout Italy, much like Santa Claus in other cultures. That's actually kind of cool. While her origins are murky, some stories link Befana, I think it's more Befana, to the Roman goddess Strenia, who gifted branches of evergreen trees at the start of the year as a symbol of enduring life and fortune. Befana's association with the magical act of flying, her giving nature, and her connection to ancient Roman traditions make her an enchanting figure in Italy's magical history. Vendetta Carlini. In the 17th century, Italy was a hotbed of religious fervor and mysticism. One notable figure from this period, I do not want to connect with a deity. One notable figure from this period is Vendetta Carlina, a Catholic nun who lived in Tuscany. She began having mystical visions at a young age, which led many to believe she had a divine connection. However, as she rose to power within her convent, her claims became more sensational. She professed to have regular conversations with angels and even claimed to be the bride of Christ. As time went on, the church became suspicious of Bendetta's claims. They conducted an investigation, and during which they concluded that her visions were not divine, but rather the work of the devil. The church's verdict was that she was a false mystic, and she was confined to herself for the remaining of 35 years of her life. What? Despite her tragic end, Bendetta Carlini's story highlights the tension between religious institution and individual spiritual experiences, making her a noteworthy figure in the history of Italian witchcraft. Nerd Report's going mods. I don't think I have. Oh, I do have a mod in here. Please share Lisa's music channel on Twitch. Thank you, Bernadette. If you guys are into, I'll take a pause from this. If you guys are into electronic dance music, I mostly play techno. I do play some house. If you guys are interested in that, please check out my Twitch channel. I know I haven't been mixing in a while. I'm trying to set things up right now. I need 10 more subs. Sorry, I'm losing my voice from all the laughing. I do need 10 more subs to get monetized, and I also have to get the hours again. I had the hours, but I guess it resets after a month. But I do just need 10 more followers. So if you guys could give me a follow, I would really appreciate it. Nerd Report and Bernadette have both dropped my link in the chat. If you guys could follow, I just need 10 more followers. Cagliostro's wife, Lorenzo Feliciano, or Feliciani, while Count Alessandro de Cagliostro often steals the limelight when discussing 18th century occult figures in Italy, his wife, Lorenza Feliciani, deserves recognition in her. I don't know why I want to say Feliciana. It's Feliciani. Deserves recognition in her own right, often known as Serafina. She was deeply involved in her husband's esoteric activities, including the rites and practices of Egyptian Freemasonry, which the Count had developed. Serafina was not only a close confidant, but also an active participant in many of the Count's mystical ceremonies. While she faced her fair share of trials, including imprisonment due to her involvement in the infamous affair of the diamond necklace, her spirit remained undeterred. She stands as a symbol of resilience, with stories hinting at her capabilities in divination and alchemy, making her a significant figure in the annals of Italian witchcraft. Sabina Magliocco. Fast forwarding, I'm probably butchering some of these last names, and I do apologize in advance. Fast forwarding to more contemporary times, Sabina Magliocco, while an anthropologist by profession, has contributed immensely to the understanding of modern Italian witchcraft, folklore, and paganism. Born in Italy and raised in the United States, Magliocco's work, like witching culture, folklore, and neo-paganism in America, shed light on the modern practices and rivals of ancient traditions. While not a witch in the historical sense, Sabina's role in documenting and analyzing the traditions of Italian witchcraft cannot be overstated. Through her scholarly pursuits, she has provided a bridge between the ancient and the contemporary, ensuring that the stories, rituals, and practices of Italy's magical heritage continue to be known and understood in today's world. Girolamo Sagato, living in the world, Girolamo Sagato, living in the early 19th century, this Italian anatomist and traveler was known for his peculiar method of petrifying human bodies. His technique, which remains a mystery to this day, allowed him to preserve human tissues in a way that resembled marble statues. That is crazy. His most famous work was his own body. After falling terminally ill, he reportedly applied his technique to himself, turning his remains into a morbid masterpiece. The lines between science and magic blur within figures like Sagato, reminding us that sometimes the most bewitching tales come not from spells, but from the unknown realms of human capability. How could anybody do that to themselves? That is crazy. Thank you, Hug Dealer's son. Thank you, Hug, for signing into your man's YouTube and subscribing. Thank you, Hugs. I appreciate that. Wendy goes beyond. It is beyond morbid. Like, imagine that is weird. I couldn't imagine, even if I did that technique and knew how to do that technique on other people, I cannot imagine doing that on myself. I feel like you're just, even though you're fallen ill, I feel like you've, like, by him doing that, I feel like he's already accepted his fate. And that's like, that's just crazy. Janara or Janus, from the region of Sardinia, come the tales of Janara or Janus, which are enchanting nocturnal witches. These witches were believed to be skilled in spinning, weaving, and had the power to heal. They would sometimes leave behind small woven items as signs of their visit. Sardinian lore is filled with stories of these women who were thought to reside in rock-cut tombs or sacred wells. They bridged the world of the living and the dead and were considered guardians of ancestral wisdom and arcane arts. Diving into the world of witches in Italy is like opening a book full of cool stories, from the old tales to the famous Italian witches everyone talks about. There's a lot to discover. These famous Italian witches have left a mark, and their stories are a big part of what makes Italy so special in the magic world. When we think of these witches in Italy, we see a mix of the old and the new, and it's awesome to see how their tales continue to inspire many today. So that was kind of cool to hear about Italian witches. One of the guys wasn't an Italian witch. He had a technique of petrifying, not petrifying, that's wood. He had a technique. What am I thinking of? Hold on. I had a brain fart. Oh, yeah, it was petrifying. I'm thinking wood. He had a technique of petrifying bodies, and he did that technique on himself when he became ill. That is crazy. I cannot. I would never be able to do that. I mean, obviously, he accepted his faith. But that's kind of weird, because by doing that, it's like he accepted his faith and he knows he's dying. So wouldn't that, like, speed up the process sometimes? Because unless he had a super strong mind, but that, I couldn't imagine doing that to myself. I could not. All right, guys, I am going to now open it up for Wendy goes embalming. I don't know. I don't think it's embalm. Maybe it is embalming, but they said petrifying. But like I said, when I think of petrifying, I think of wood. So that's why I was like, wait a minute, am I saying it right? Wendy goes, that's my nightmare tonight. Lisa, thanks so much. So, guys, I am now going to open it up for questions. If you guys have any questions, it could be about witchcraft. Could have been about the craziness that happened tonight. I moved the camera, so now when I kicked it, so now you can't see where Skeleduck is. But anyways, I did kick the camera, so hold on, let me move it a little bit. I mean, well, not technically it's still there. I kicked it a little bit. I don't know, like, what happened, if it moved up here? Oh, no. Okay. But anyways, I forgot to mention at the beginning of the stream, that Skeleduck is somewhere hidden in the background. I do have a lot of new people here. They don't know who Skeleduck is and probably has no idea what I'm talking about. His picture was, I don't know, accidentally, um, he is pictured on my left hand corner. It might be your right hand corner. That is what he looks like. I do hide him in my background no matter what studio I'm in, as long as I remember him. So he is somewhere in this background, guys. Just remind me before I end the stream, because I do forget. I will give you a few minutes to look for him. um I had I had to move the camera a little bit. I think when I kicked it, it moved the camera. Bernadette goes, that's what it was tonight, the scream stream. Yes, a lot of laughs tonight. I was losing my voice from all the laughing. Bia Stone has found him. Much easier at Lewis's studio. I know there's not as much hiding places here. My studio has a lot more stuff in the background, so it's easier. It's harder to find things. Wendy goes, it was the Lisa dance. Hug Dealer goes, taxidermy. I don't think it was taxidermy because he would do that. It was for human skin. So like a way of preserving. I think it was more of preserving human skin or something like that. I think it was more of that, more toward that effect. Shelly goes, are those ears really attached to Lewis? Has he been hiding them this whole time? You never know. No. Heather Salvatore goes, followed, petrified his years of being in the correct temp and moisture and being like a mummy. So maybe, yeah, because they didn't really like say, it just said like preserving skin or something like that, petrifying skin or the body. And no one to this day knows what technique he used. Hug goes, Lisa, we should start a coven. Lisa Boo goes, I will be watching the replay. You will see when you watch the replay, for anyone coming in on the replay, you would see a jump scare. Lisa got, I got jump scared. I wasn't expecting him to come through the door and he scared the crap out of me. Wendy goes, please don't feed my nightmares. Hug goes, Lisa will be my bestie. Sure, why not, Hug? I think you're a cool person. Martine goes, I can't log into. That's okay, Martine. When you get a chance. Sometimes I know logging into things can be pesky. Wendy goes, we all got jump scared. And then he came back again, and I think he jump scared a few other people. He didn't jump scare me after that because I was looking at the door. Like, I still kind of am. But I really was not expecting that. That's like the time you can jump scare me, when I'm not expecting it. And I was not expecting that. I was like, Hug goes, Lisa needs to get her channel pick made into a poster. I should. I never thought of that, but I could. Wendy goes, hubby gets me most of the time. Because I used to have a coworker, he would try to jump scare me. He would try to sneak up on me, and I was like, yes. Because I could see him at the corner of my eye. He got me one time though, because one time I was concentrating on it was at work, so I was concentrating on something and he got me, and I was like, oh, you got me. Matthew goes, DJ Lewis hip hop bunny artist. And then he goes, I'm Bad Bunny. I was like, Hug, yeah, definitely. Lisa, I kept losing my voice and train of thought tonight from all the laugh. I did. I was like, what was I talking about? Heather Salvatore goes, I punch like a mofo when I get scared. I don't. I just jump when I get scared. But I know there's some people that throw things. There's some people that punch like Heather does. Because I've seen those videos that people post. I always find them hilarious, the reaction of the people, and I start laughing. Matthew goes, bad Cuban Bunny Lewis is such a character. Spelled carrot ter. I'll give you a few more minutes for Skeleduck. Keep the questions going, guys. And again, if you haven't done so, if you do have Twitch, I'm 10 followers away. I just need 10 more followers. So that way I could get monetized on Twitch. If you like electronic dance music, Bernadette has dropped the link in the chat. I can't even talk straight too because of what happened tonight. I play mostly techno, and I do play some house. I may change some things up and play some David Guetta type stuff. I call it EDM-ish type things, but mostly I do play techno. It's funner for me. But if you can and you have Twitch, please follow me at Twitch. Again, I'm like 10 followers away from getting monetized over there. And Bernadette dropped the link. Bernadette, and I know I haven't been on in a while because I've been trying to set things up. Bernadette goes, she's badass at mixing. So if you guys can follow me, Bernadette dropped the chat in the link. Bernadette dropped the link in the chat. Bia Stone goes, I had a coworker who was so jumpy, I jumped out her open door and it was a delivery guy, scared the crap out of him. Wendy goes, is Skeleduck behind Elvis? No, he's not. Matthew goes, Lisa's a way better DJ than Luz. He's all right. Carol! I already knew Carol was I was waiting for you to say I see him. I already knew Carol would find him. Wendy goes, Beanchy, I give up. All right, guys. Skeleduck is not there. Hold on. Because I'm trying to. It's better if I look at it. Skeleduck. Because I had to move the camera because the camera, he was actually kind of off screen. He is right. He's behind the Funko Pop. So you can kind of see his outline there and then his tail. So he's right there where my finger's pointing. He's like, you can see, kind of, it's a Godzilla Funko Pop. And you can kind of see his outline right there. Like you can see the top of his head there and then his tail sticking out. It's on my left-hand side of the screen or your right-hand side. I'm not sure if it's backwards. Matthew goes, I knew it! Carol goes, I basically see his tail. Lisa Boo goes, when you adjust the camera, I saw him because he was off camera. But when I started the stream, he was on camera. And then when I kicked it by accident, because I was laughing so hard, it moved. when he goes in the shadows. Bernadette goes, you need a glow necklace on that pinche duck. I should, when I'm mixing, I should put one on the one that I have over there. the Skeleduck's old brother that goes to the gym. All right, guys, any last minute questions before I end this stream? And again, if you guys are just coming in now, please watch the replay. Definitely, you don't want to miss it. Matthew goes in a whistle like Terry Crews and White Chicks. They used to when in the old rave, because I wasn't a raver chick, I was a rocker chick. But in the raves back when I was a rocker chick, they would have a whistle. Carol, thank you. Great stream, Lisa. Good night. Lisa Boo, thank you. We'll watch the replay and can't wait. All right, guys, if you don't have any further questions, without further ado, I am going to end the stream here. Thank you for joining me on this edition of Grayson Report. I will see you on the next one, which will be Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I won't be late on Monday. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be there, be squared, stay spooky, guys, and sweet nightmares, and have a great rest of your weekend. And thank you, guys. Have a great night. Good night, guys.